everyone, this is Sandra. Welcome back to my channel. Today is another brush pen video. This is another sample of my large brush pens, and these are the Marvy LePlume 2. So these are double-sided brush pens. One side is a brush tip, the other one is a fine liner. And I think the reason why I bought these in the first place, number one, the color selection, because it is pretty large. I mean, not as large as the Tombow dual brush pen, but the second reason I bought them was because of the tip. And so the Tombow dual brush pen right here, and you can even tell they look very similar. The Tombow has a little bit of a larger tip, so it's not quite like a fine liner, and that's why I bought them. So however, and you may see it while I go through and write down the colors of the pen, but they have a tendency to dry out. And I don't know if it's because the markers are kind of not very good quality, or if it's because the caps don't close properly. I've had a few that I found that the caps weren't secured properly and they were dried out. So I'm going to go ahead and start writing down all the colors. It might take a couple pages because there are quite a few of these pens. And then we're going to talk about them. We'll come back. I probably won't do the alphabet because this video is going to be longer because there are more pens, but I do have a few things I'd like to say about them after we're done. And just as a side note, the colors of these pens are on the barrel, so I will just write down what color it is called. Again, I'm using my Rhodia Dot Grid notepad, and let's get started.
There is trouble, it's hard to confide. You move my world round every time. Sprint you magic in, you belong with the fairies. No matter what I say, it's black or white, not gray. Gotta stay loose when next to you, for sure, or else you get bruised. There's no pick and choose, for sure. You set the weather, every cloud, every rain. You're above and beyond. Oh, every tune is your song. Doesn't matter what I say, there is no other way. Gotta stay loose when next to you, for sure, or else you get bruised. There's no pick and choose, for sure.
Okay, so I feel like I need to collect my thoughts because I do have a lot of things to say about these pens. So, number one, as I was writing, I noticed, like, I do like this, that the fact that each pen has numbers associated with it and the color on the pen. My one thing with Tombow is that they don't have the name of the color on the pen, and I personally like that. Tombow has a little card sheet that, or you can look online to see what colors are which, and they do have numbers on the pens. Just for reference, I'll show you. They have a number, but they don't have the color. So, I mean, it could have been in the marketing scheme, like maybe they wanted it to be nice and clean, I don't know. So with these, I like that they have the numbers and the colors. However, the colors, like, or the numbers, I don't know if they, like, I don't know what kind of order they're in, if you know what I mean. Like, number one is black, and then I don't have a number 2. So I know I don't have all the colors because first of all, they came in packs. You can't buy all of these pens together. You have to get them in separate packs, which it kind of bums me out only because I probably had 5 different packs. I remember I didn't buy the Victorian pack, but I had 5 different ones and they were actually really expensive. So for the quality and the price, I think they ranged in price from anywhere 25 to maybe $40 per pack, and there might have been 10 or 12 pens per pack. So I don't know if the price for the quality that you get is on point. Again, I don't think I have all the colors, but for me, I'm not sure if it makes sense. So when I was lining up the pens in like the color of the barrel, I was doing it for myself to make it look aesthetically pleasing. So I like to have it in order of color, of rainbow color. And it might not be, like the red, orange, yellow, blah, blah, blah. In this case, I guess it kind of was, except I have green at the end instead of like blue. But anyway, that's besides the point. So in other words, the color of the actual ink doesn't necessarily match the barrel, but the one thing I will point out is that the colors are very gorgeous. Like, these colors are amazing. I love the colors, so pretty. And the names of the colors are very intriguing, actually, very interesting. That was one of the, as I was going through, because I didn't actually read all of the names of the colors when I first bought them, but as I'm going through now, like, what brand of marker has one called pumpkin or butterscotch? I think that is really cool. The same with rosewood and wisteria amethyst. There are some really neat ones actually that aren't just, light green, dark green, pale green. So even here, pine green, and then there's peppermint. Like, that's super cool. I give them props for the saturation of color and the amount of colors because they definitely have a lot. And also the color names are very cool. That's totally up my alley. Like, you remember those old sketch markers, the ones that smelled good, and the black would be licorice and the brown would be cinnamon? I like kind of associating the names of colors with like tastes or flavors. I don't know, it's weird, but I like that. That's like something that I totally really like. So getting to the actual brush pen. So I started a couple here, and I forgot to put T's on my butterscotch. Oh well. So Scarlet was pretty much the only one dried out. And I guess maybe for some reason I thought that I had more that were dried out. So that one is probably just because the lid didn't cap properly, because they don't have that satisfying click when you close the pen. And I like that. These ones just kind of sit on there, and that bugs me. The other end, however, has a nice little close to it. So for me, it doesn't really make sense to have a fine liner that's so light. You can't even see some of these yellows or some of the pinks. So for me, if I was going to buy this just based on the fact that it was a fine liner, I would probably stick to, I don't know, a Sharpie or something that had more vibrant colors, because you want something that shows up. The fact that it does have the fine liner as opposed to like a marker-ish tip like the Tombows, I do like that, because it's kind of like the difference between the Zebra Mild liner, the brush pen, and the actual highlighter, whereas each of the fine points are a different size. So I like that because it gives you variety. I have no complaints about the barrel of the pen. It's very similar to Tombow, except this is shiny, and I think Tombow is matte black. It's a little bit more matte than this one anyway. The last point I guess I want to talk about is the brush tip itself. So I just want to kind of compare. I'm going to pick a similar blue color if I can here. Okay, so here is the Tombow. This is the Marvy LePlume 2. And I'm just going to do it on this paper so I don't waste paper. I'm going to go ahead and write Marvy. And I want to explain this as I'm writing because it really bothers me. So as I'm writing with the Marvy, the entire tip, like not just the end of the tip, but the entire brush pen tip bends. So it's almost like it bends right from the starting point, and it kind of bugs me because I find that you can get really semi, like if you don't press that hard, if you're not a heavy hand, or you like if you press really light, you can get a semi-thick downstroke. Then If you press a bit harder, it can be thicker. And if you press the hardest, look how thick that is. So it's very inconsistent. So if you're not familiar with using a brush pen, these are a little bit more difficult to use, in my opinion, compared to the Tombos. Okay, I'm gonna just compare the Tombow now and show you. I will be doing a brush pen review video on the Tombos, even though they've been around forever, but I just want to show you the difference. So with these, the whole brush pen tip doesn't move. It's pretty much only like the top half of it. And I like that better. I feel like I have more control with the Tombow. Yes, much more control. I feel like I can do bouncy lettering with it easier. I don't know if that's a thing that other people find too, but I love my Tombos. Out of every single brush pen that I own, like even compared to the small ones, I think my favorites are probably the Zebra Mile Liner brush pen and the Tombos. The Tombos just have so many colors. I love them. I love them to pieces. So with the Marvy, the other thing I noticed, like here for instance, some of them I managed to get really awesome thin upstrokes, and some of them I didn't. And you could say that's just from use, because I will tell you guys something and be completely honest here. Those brush pens, like these Marvy LePlume 2, are the ones that I've practiced with the most besides the Tombos. I've had the Tombos for far longer, so you'll see that they hold up much better compared to the Marvy LePlume 2. I've used them over and over and over again, and the brush tip is still pretty darn good. The Marvys, I've only used them, well, I've used them more than any other brush pen other than the Tombos, but still, only like a handful of times. I probably like 3 or 4 times a week to practice my brush lettering. I do notice that the more you use them, they break in really, really quickly, and your thin upstrokes go thick really quickly. So I did notice that, but when I first started using them, I did notice an inconsistency between all of the new ones. Actually, there were some that had thin upstrokes right off the get-go and some that were thicker, and I don't like that. I think that's definitely an inconsistency in the brush pen. I think they should all be the same. And for the price point, I definitely see that as, you know, like a warning sign, like don't buy these brush pens, they're not that good. And I haven't really seen that many videos talking about these brush pens. I know Ensign Insights has done this, and she did the watercolor pen test, and she did some other brush pen videos. I'm actually going to link her channel because she's one of my favorite brush pen artists, and I just love watching her videos. They're so relaxing. I don't know. I feel like for the amount of money you spend on these pens, they are not worth it. So if you're looking for brush pens and you want to invest some money in them, definitely get the Tombos, because these are just not worth it. I love the colors. If you are looking for a simple pack of brush pens to color with, I'd maybe get them, but still for the price point, I don't know if it's worth it. I would get some cheap brand off of Amazon, or even like the Walmart brand for that matter. And the Tombos, don't buy those for coloring um, unless you really want to waste your money. And I guess I shouldn't say that, because you know, you can do what you want with your money. It's your money. But the Tombos are amazing. I don't know how many times I can say that. And this video isn't even about Tombos. So if you guys have any questions about this video, please feel free to leave them down below in the description box. Any comments as well. If you liked it, please click that little thumbs up button. And also please subscribe if you are new here, and hit the bell notification so you won't miss any videos from me. Until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.